Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Hey, what's happening? Happy hump day. Good morning and welcome onto the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score, 107thescore.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Brought to you as always by Happy State Bank, alongside the one and only Geoff Haxton. I'm Chois Woodman. Lucas White across the wheel. It's already in my mind. Across
All
the
you
way.
want to do is have me spin. That's it.
Across the way, taking care of us. There will be a wheel today. I read it on my screen as I'm saying that.
You woke up and was like, well, I don't want to go into work today, but Hax has got to spin.
Spinning the tiny wheel. That's happening about 30 minutes away from right now, so you won't want to miss it. There's no way the wheel gods are kind to you 2 times in a row, right?
Never know. Never know.
Watch, Hax will get the freebie. If that happens...
If that happens, I'm going to take that ball and spike it right in your face.
I was going to say, I'm going to throw this cactus across the room. With, of course, using the pot side first. Yeah, we will have the tiny wheel coming your way a little bit...
Across the wheel.
Later. Across the wheel. Sorry, Lucas. That was not even pointed towards you. Hax is owning the wheel. I think the last 6 weeks, we've gone two in a row for Lucas, 2 in a row for me, and now 2 in a row for Hax. So it's been that way. We'll see if Hax breaks the streak next week. Maybe it can be 2 in a row for the listener to be the loser, so we can get a little bit of a break. But we'll do that, of course. Got our Wednesday bowl projections. I've compiled everybody's everywhere, and we'll tell you who has Texas Tech projected where after the ugly loss to Baylor this past weekend. A couple of them have dropped Texas Tech out of bowl projections. I'll tell you what, if I'm going to be very disappointed if you can't go 2-2 in your next 4 games. I mean, you've got 4, 3.5 winnable football games. You got to find a way to win a couple and get to a bowl game. But we'll get to that. Next, we had our first college football playoff rankings released last night, and it's exactly what I think we would have expected, which is big-name teams, brand-name teams get the nod, and the little guy gets left out again.
Yeah, if you what's your logo look like? What conference do you play in? And I don't know how you break it. There's
putting a 12-team playoff out there is how it'll break to an extent.
You're still going to have
there's
logo bias,
heavy bias, yeah.
But these things have been going on for over a century now, and it's just hard to break. And I don't know if you ever will.
No, not completely. You'll never break it.
But
completely.
I think you are right. I mean, one of the answers is to find a way to include the ones that don't have burnt orange Longhorns or the numbers on the side and crimson and paper clips and all that. So I don't know. It is really hard to overcome a century of history.
Probably not a good week to sit here and defend TCU, but we're probably going to have to do it. And it is TCU week, but the Horned Frogs getting hosed last night. Of course, we'll get into.
You see that they said. They fell behind in a couple of games.
Yeah, they said they don't have as balanced of an offense.
Oh, my gosh.
We want one with a balanced offense and defense. And it's like, hey, did you see Alabama give up 52 points to Tennessee? 52? They couldn't stop them the whole game. You want a defense?
It's just amazing how
Snuck
they will
by
pick
Texas
and choose.
Oh, the wording is the worst. Like, the explanations are what can make you pull your hair out. If they would just come out and say the truth.
We don't like that purple froggy.
Yeah, it's like, they're Alabama. Of course we're going to put them in front of TCU. If you just say that, we at least know you're not lying through your teeth. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and here we are opening the show defending TCU.
I know, and it's going to happen, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Something we will do also, the good side of things, is talk some Texas Tech hoops. 5 days away from Red Raiders and Demons of Northwestern State. Of course, the first couple of weeks are, just the ease into it, and then it's full-on cannonball into the season once you head into the ocean, across the ocean to Hawaii. And that should get really interesting. So we'll take a little bit. We'll take a look at the personnel tomorrow. We're going to look at the schedule a little bit more for Texas Tech basketball. Looking ahead to see what we've got coming up in the non-conference portion of the schedule. Most of it Patsy's, but there are some big ones, and we'll dive into that. You excited for basketball?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So this has been this way, Hax, for 5-6 years, where it's been turnover city here in Lubbock. Talking about not turnover as in giving the ball away, but turnover as in different teams every single season. We really haven't seen a consistent group together since the Keenan Evans, Justin Gray, Norin Sodiase, that bunch of guys. That was kind of your grow up together. Yeah, those your grow up together group. But since then, you've had teams full of transfers, grad transfers, 1 or 2 year guys, and just trying to piece things together. There's been years where it's obviously worked really well, and there's been years where it has, sputtered a little bit more, and you've had more issues figuring out roles and chemistry and that sort of thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team meshes together. Obviously, last year, year one under Coach Adams, chemistry worked pretty well. If you didn't run into Duke, you're likely an Elite Eight team and possibly a Final Four team last year.
I watched some of last year's team, and I was like, I really think the only thing that could get in the way of that being an Elite Eight or a Final Four team is the story and talent that was Duke. It ended up being a very, very tough draw to overcome.
Yeah, it did.
Because they were, just got Banchero and on and on and on, right?
And they played so well.
But we, as a team last year, were so long and athletic, and the only thing that was missing is just a dead-eye perimeter shooter. Now, Banner was that at times, but he's also a big. So, I mean, you just missed that guard that could step out and nail threes, and I'm telling you, that team was good.
Yeah, I mean, just the little look back, but you run into the buzzsaw there. If you have a different draw, you play any of the other 2 seeds in the tournament, there's a pretty good chance you're getting through.
Yeah, I agree.
And possibly even getting to a Final Four. I mean, it's you never
Mark
know.
Adams' first year, he set a lot of high expectations.
Sure.
You go 18-0 in conference, you sweep Baylor, you beat Kansas, you sweep Texas. I mean, golly.
Yeah. So a lot
what
to
a
look
great
for.
year.
Yeah, for sure. So the bar is set high. Here in Lubbock, of course, the expectation's still fairly low nationally, as it's been almost every time around. You're 25.
Fine.
Top. It's fine. But still top 25 team going into the season. Got a lot to look forward to. We will talk some basketball. We're going to talk some football. What needs to be corrected? More like what doesn't need to be corrected from last weekend. Moving away from Baylor and Bob Seger Day, turning the page towards Texas Christian University this weekend. All of that still ahead. You got the end of the bench rolling till noon on 100.7 The Score.
Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Thanks so much for hanging with us on a Wednesday. It is the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. Get your thoughts, comments, questions in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Right now, we've got a few headlines to bring you today.
Jeez.
Beep. Let's start off with the Lady Raiders dismantling Midwestern State last night, 84-40 in the exhibition game. That's what you're supposed to do in the exhibition game. Look good, play everybody, that sort of thing. Tech was able to do so yesterday evening, and you don't get to count it as win number 1 of the season, but kind of feels that way. The Lady Raiders will be back at it, of course, in the doubleheader on Monday to tip off the season officially against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. That'll be at 5:30. Then the Red Raiders tip off at 8 o'clock on Monday night against Northwestern State. Elsewhere, the Phillies took down the Astros 7-0 last night. Lead the series now 2-1. Did you get to watch any of that?
Yeah.
I took in some, and
I did too.
It was a home run derby.
It was a dynamic start. Just when Harper does something, it just has such a kind of a, I don't know, it just feels like it means more. I think the crowd goes more and more crazy. Schwarber's kind of the same way. Their pitching was stellar, and the Astros just didn't have a chance. Did not have a chance with what they ran into yesterday.
I didn't realize Phillies, Astros, and Eagles, Texans was this week. I mean, I did realize it, but the correlation, there's a lot of Philly versus Houston this weekend, or this week. Eagles, Texans coming up on Thursday Night Football. Phillies taking out the Astros 7-0. So game
tie for most home runs in a World Series game.
What do we have? 5. I believe that they had scored 7 runs, Hacks. This may be a record. I didn't see if it officially was. Scored 7 runs without ever getting a guy into scoring position. Isn't that nuts? They didn't get a guy into scoring position, but using the long ball.
Yeah.
It is today's game. Jeremy Pena for the Astros was named the first ever rookie, Hacks, to win the Gold Glove at the shortstop position. So
Jose Trevino,
some good news
Gold
there.
Glover.
Trevino, Hacks' guy, gets the Gold Glove nod in the American League at catcher. Awesome stuff there. No Rangers, right? Did I see that correct?
No,
I didn't think. I think you had 3 finalists, but I don't think any of the guys ended up winning a Gold Glove. Don't forget High School Fan Zone tonight. Oh, sorry, need to backtrack. Phillies Astros game 4 will be tonight. You can listen to that game coming up at 6:30 over on Double T 97.3, a 7:10 first pitch from Philly. High School Fan Zone here on 100.7 The Score. Coaches from Friendship and Lubbock Cooper here in the First United Bank studio with Tommy Wood to talk about their teams. A big week for both teams. Cooper trying to stay in second place. Friendship trying to hold on to a district title, at least a share of the district title, with a win this weekend. So, win on Friday, pardon me. So, both of those teams in action. Both those coaches in the studio tonight. Xavier White named to the Burlsworth Trophy Award watch list. This is given annually to the best player in college football that started out as a walk-on.
Huh.
So, pretty cool.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure your boy won it a couple times.
Your boy?
Your boy Baker. But
come on now.
I could throw a lot of people in you, but that one won't work. Xavier White named to the Burlsworth. So pretty cool there. He's had a really good season. A little over 400 yards. Actually, quite a bit over 400 yards. He's been leading the team in receiving this year. And lots of action from the trade deadline yesterday. All over the place. Chase Claypool on the move. Steelers trade him to the Bears. The Jaguars acquired Calvin Ridley, suspended Ridley from the Falcons. Lions traded tight end Hawkinson to the Vikings.
Don't forget the huge news day in the Pac-12 yesterday.
Oh, gosh. So, remember, we teased that John Canzano, I believe. He said...
He started it.
Yeah, he said...
Then John Wilner said, sounds like a newsy day in the Pac-12.
So, the big news, which he called, what do you say, poetic? Poetic news is what Canzano labeled it as. Right? We didn't miss something else.
No.
It's Bill Walton saying he didn't like UCLA going to the...
Oh, my gosh, you losers.
Bill Walton speaks out.
The only guy that I've been able to trust on this whole thing is Jason Shear.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got an Arizona Wildcat flavor. He's the publisher of WildcatAuthority.com. And he's had a little bit of a Big 12 lean, I would say. But maybe he sees that as the way that his institution survives, which I think is probably the way that he's thinking. But he said 20 hours ago, so yesterday, Wow, this was the news? Embarrassing.
Like, seriously, they tease us, they tell us.
And he quote tweeted John Wilner on that thing too.
Like, seriously, like, what? Do they think we're stupid? I asked that question completely.
John Kurtz, too, who's a K-State guy. Bill Walton is not happy with UCLA. This
is the news.
Was the big news bomb?
Like, I don't get it. I really, really can't understand it. But it's whatever. I mean, great. That's your news. Good job. That's going to totally keep UCLA from moving. It's going to be it. I was floored by that yesterday. I'm like, really? I'm like, I fell into the trap.
Well, so did I. We talked about it.
Yeah. Canzano says it. I'm like, well, I'm a little nervous. What if they do come out with a giant deal from Apple or Amazon or somebody like that? And then it's a big ball of nothing. So, good news if you're wanting the Pac-12 to die. Like, I think we are pretty collective on that. Go away, Pac-12. We'll take a couple of you on the way out. NBA-wise, got a couple of games from Texas teams tonight. Spurs will host the Raptors at 7 o'clock tonight. The Mavericks host the Jazz at 7:30, and the Rockets also host the Clippers at 7 o'clock. So all three Texas teams are at home this evening. You too can join us. Your thoughts, comments, questions, all welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. You in on the $8 blue check mark?
I don't have a check mark to begin with, so I'm sure not going to be
gonna pay
on this.
Like if it was $8 a year, I'd be like, all right, the $8 a month for a blue check mark. I don't have a problem with it because the companies that actually need it are going to pay for it.
I think at first brush here, you're like, but if you've got one of those check marks,
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and you live on Twitter, and your job probably depends on how you do Twitter.
Uh-huh.
So I bet you, people are just like, kind of like, hey, I'm moving to Canada. I'm not going to pay that, but I bet you a lot of people end up doing it.
I bet you're exactly right. Yeah, there's going to be people that pay for it. It's people.
But trending on Twitter, it says the $8.
The $8. It's funny to see how many people are just so up in arms of Elon and how things are already going and how the Twitter works. I think some will be good, some will not be so good. It'll be a process to work through. But at least there won't be near the censorship that there has been, where it is completely lopsided and not actually getting truth out there as much as it needs.
Got to kill the bots.
Yeah.
The porn bots.
All sorts of bots. Except the voting bots. We need to keep those around just to help me win the polls here.
The voting bots.
I don't think we've gotten to any voting bots here. Only in the Texas Tech.
Yeah. That had all kinds of bots.
Polls, there's some.
The bots are on.
There's some bots there for sure.
The bots are in again for the Kansas State fan base.
Oh, that's great. All right, hit us up.
By the way, Tech won that. Tech had more bots.
Tech won the national championship on fan bases. So we got that going for us. It's the end of the bench. Got to tell you why Jerry Jones might be fined pretty soon. This one might top them all of his fines in his career. This one is pretty great. We'll get to that. Do have the bowl projections. Of course, we'll talk college football playoff. And oh, by the way, spinning a wheel. Coming up next on 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
On to hour number 2. It's the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. Keep your thoughts, comments, questions coming on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Great reaction so far. We'll get back to some of those regarding college football playoff initial rankings. Hacks, trivia question for you. Pass, fail, pop quiz. Who was the first ever, when these rankings came out, First ever number one team in the college football playoff rankings.
What year?
How long have we had the playoff? 14? Hold on, I'll find it.
Who was number one?
Yeah.
Ohio State.
Good guess, but wrong.
Fail.
Mississippi State. Dak Prescott led Mississippi State.
Never would have got that.
I know, that's why I did it. It's because it's so out there that Mississippi State and Dak Prescott were the first number one ranked team in the college football playoff rankings the initial year they did it. I'll have to look at what year that was. Was it 14? Lucas says 14. We'll trust him. He's the Bulldog fan. Lots in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line regarding our previous conversation. Kobe says, what I don't get is how Texas is ranked. They were 24th. Their best win is against OU. Unranked OU. Because they're Texas.
Without their quarterback, OU.
Logo. A loss is a loss in every league and counts against them concerning the playoff unless you're a blue blood or in the SEC. Basically the formula they follow, yeah. Someone says, I'm not surprised TCU was left out. The committee obviously sees the facade of their undefeated record.
That's fakeade.
Fakeade, sorry. Of their undefeated record. TCU will lose 2 games before all is said and done this season. Hey, I got blasted when I said that yesterday.
I said plastered.
Plastered is drunk, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I got blasted when I said that yesterday. But that was because I had already declared that I'm off of the TCU hate wagon. Agree, it's just the first playoff list, but I don't really expect it to change much when it's all said and done. More fodder for the fans to clamor for an expanded playoff. Let's get to the 12-team playoff. Right now, I think the projected date is the 2024 season. So not next year, but the year after, we'll have 12 teams. Couldn't come any quicker. Need it. Don't y'all just hate it when traditional systems you so strongly adhere to don't work out in your favor? Maybe you just don't give a rip about the playoff rankings this very first week. They don't matter at all.
They don't. That's true.
No, but I think the point is that if the season came to an end right now, they're showing you
it does bring
exactly what they would do.
It brings a dose of truth, is what it does. It paints a future picture.
It does.
For what your conference is trying to do, which
exactly.
I tell you what, it feels like about the best you can do is because the conference will cannibalize itself for years and years to come.
Yeah.
With a bunch of teams that are pretty close to each other.
The Big 12.
You probably shouldn't care that much about it anyway.
Well, the Big 12 is going to, when it does.
But then you have a competitive fire, too, that
Sure.
starts to burn.
Sure.
That's like, you know, what? Why can't we be in there? You know, that kind of deal. You start to bow up a little bit.
When it comes to the conference thing, I couldn't give an absolute rip about TCU not being in Hacks. But
you put Tech in that.
I put Tech in that position. If Tech were to grow the way I'm hoping they do and be in this position 2 or 3 years from now, that's where I get worried. That's where it's like, man, I'd hate to see this happen to us if we finally get to where we want to be and then get screwed. That's where I put my put the shoes on my feet. So what we need to see, what the Big 12 being a perceived weaker league after Texas and OU leaves, you've got to have an automatic bid, right? Some people are against it, but you need that Power 5 all the Power 5s to have an automatic bid, or there will be a lot of years where the Big 12's even left out of a 12-team playoff. So you need that. And you may end up being 11th or 12th a lot of years, but you need that for that opportunity for that team. Someone says, I hate TCU as much as anyone, but that was the dumbest comment I've ever heard. I assume you're talking about the one that the Boo Kerrigan said.
It fell behind.
Yeah. Alabama would kick the ever-loving crap out of Texas Christians. Sit down and shut up, TCU. You're about to take a big fat L this weekend, so it'll be a moot point anyway. That's from Bobby Hot Dogs. Hope you're right, Bobby. Hope you're right for sure. Okay, Hacks. Jarrah. What's
he doing?
Have you seen what I've said? Or have you seen
If I
what
were him, I'd just go to the yacht and kick it. That's what I would do.
So I said suspension on accident. It's fine. No suspension coming for Jerry. But Cowboys, Jerry Jones faces possible NFL fine for his Halloween costume. This is real. Did you see? You haven't seen any of this yet?
No.
What do you like? Where's your mind go initially? Because I heard this story earlier. I'm like,
The Emperor.
like what could he have? What could
The Star
he have
Wars
done?
Emperor, whatever guy with the hood.
Like, what could he have done wrong? My thought was he had to have mocked Roger Goodell or dressed up as Roger Goodell or something. No.
But a pimp.
Also, even Jerry's not that stupid, right? Well, he dresses up as a blind referee, has a walking stick, a referee jersey, and
Are you serious?
it hasn't been officially released, but there is comments that there's a decent chance he's going to get fined for this. How stupid is that?
That's so
that you could
dumb.
get fined for, like, he doesn't have an NFL logo anywhere on him. It's not like he put an NFL logo as
It's not making a statement. Just
no, it's a blind ref. It's been done a million times before. Always a great costume, but yeah, the No Fun League striking again. So we'll see if it does come to fruition where he ends up getting the fine. But
I pictured him in a fur coat with a cane and a big hat.
probably, more accurate there. But Jerry Jones could be fined. We'll see if that ends up happening or not. If they do fine him, come on, Roger.
Send the fine to Raymar. Yeah, send the money,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, we're not paying it.
Fine.
No, wait.
I was like, you're offering to pay
No,
for Jerry?
no. But the NFL's got more money than God.
Yeah.
Okay, so does Jerry.
Yeah.
So instead of there being a transaction there,
all right,
he wires the money to Raymar, and then we get to split it.
Will be your charity case.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm in for that.
As you know,
I thought you were saying, I'll pay for Jerry there.
Oh, my gosh,
like, no thanks.
No.
I'll leave that all on Hacks. Bullfighter real quick says, how was lunch yesterday, Hacks? Did you go get the calzone?
I did. I went and got the calzone with BPE.
Good?
So good.
Went to the place that rhymes with Mario's?
Mm-hmm. It's a me. I'm Mario.
Sounded pretty good. All right, keep getting those
I had
in.
a calzone last night, too.
Had a calzone on calzone
It was calzone day.
I missed it.
Me and BPE, we tore it up. It was good.
Man. All right, lots more of your thoughts. Do have the bowl projections. We'll get to all of that coming up in a little bit. Hacks has the highs and lows to deliver next on 100.7 The Score.
Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Here for about 30 more minutes. We'll hand you off to the bottom line at high noon, 15 minutes away. Ask the Benchwarmers. Get those questions in right now on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Got a few in. Like plenty more. Regarding tech football, basketball, baseball, non-tech stuff. Whatever you want to get in, you can do so on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. For Ask the Benchwarmers, 15 minutes away. He's Hacks. I'm Chois Jackson. Across the way, get to a few of these before I get to a football question for Hacks. Bobby Hot Dog says the pizza place in Ruidoso sells roasted garlic cloves as an appetizer. I don't ever remember anyone stinking for days, so I think it's not going to be that big of a deal. Okay. Someone else said, I saw the Osprey fly over Upland. We were on Milwaukee. Was a pretty cool sight.
There you go.
No we already read that one. Cranberry sauce equals candy corn. That's from Jerry. Both garbage. So thankful to avoid the old-fashioned turkey dinner this year and do some other types of foods. You ever avoid the... I will go
to great lengths to get to the old-fashioned turkey dinner.
There's this sandwich shop off of Quaker that's like a chain, but they have a Thanksgiving...
Sandwich
year
Where?
round on Quaker and like 114th. In that
I know where you're talking about. I'm going there after the show.
You haven't been there?
No.
Okay, so I've had it, and it's pretty good. But it's got cranberry sauce on there.
No, just tell them to hold it.
Okay. But it's got a Thanksgiving with the dressing on there, and like
there's a place in
it's pretty good.
Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's downtown. It's just called The Diner.
Yeah.
And it's got a line out the door. Really cool place. Nice ambiance, all that.
Yeah.
And they have an open-faced turkey sandwich.
Yeah.
That's
pretty good, huh?
Oh.
Yeah.
It's the only decent part about going to Sioux Falls, getting to go to the diner. Have you been to the diner?
I have.
Hey,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The place is awesome.
It's good. It was one of the, it's probably like the best restaurant.
They got the pies and the coffees. I mean, really kind of any kind of food you want, but that open-faced turkey, and they had an open-faced beef too.
I think I went and ate there the day before I had my surgery. It was like the last place I ate before like the 12-hour cutoff or something like that.
Ah, nice.
But yeah,
the diner.
Really the only good thing about that place.
Cranberry sauce with turkey dressing and giblets gravy is the bomb. Yeah, someone agreeing with me on that Thanksgiving sandwich. It's good. I don't really even care for all the other sandwiches there, but that one in particular it slaps, as they say. I think I used that correctly. There's other people chiming in with other sandwiches and stuff on the chat line.
My stomach just growled.
I know
it has been growling all show.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Patrick. It's off Indiana, not Quaker. Indiana and 114th. It's in that shopping center right there that has a few things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like by the Laura Bush. So
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, pretty good. Thank you, Patrick, for the correction there. Okay, so Texas Tech football takes on TCU. This is a game, Hacks, as you're probably not surprised. I had scheduled, when we went through the preseason, this is a win, this is a loss. When we saw the schedule, this is what I had as a win because I didn't think TCU was going to be that good. They were 5-7 last year. They were a worse football team record-wise than you were last year. And you got rid of a coach. They also got rid of a coach.
They were getting smoked, too, last year.
Yeah, they were, especially down the stretch. TCU's obviously done things very well. Max Duggan, a big reason for that.
Wasn't good enough to start the year, old Max.
It's crazy. But what has to change? Outside, I think turnovers is probably the answer. You can't turn the ball over 5 times this weekend. But what do you need to see the most improvement from week to week?
Well, we talk a lot about, I'm going to focus on them a little bit, but we talk a lot about when we're doing over-unders, chunk plays.
Yeah.
They are just so darn explosive on offense.
Big time.
And so when they get going, they rip off huge chunks a bunch. And it's that Quentin Johnston, and it's just but what it allows them to do that is they've got big-time playmakers, but they're just so much better in the trenches than you ever could have conceived. Yeah. Now, when they walk out in front of you, you're like, man, that looks like a big-time team. And that's not coming from just me. I mean, the guys on game day said that. When they were able to get close to them, when they were up at Lawrence and they got to get down on the field with TCU, kind of blew them away just how big and strong and physical and fast they are. So limiting chunk plays is going to be big. And, one thing that we've seen with TCU is they're not the greatest starters, which got them knocked in the playoff rankings for some reason.
Yeah, take that, TCU.
So if you jump out front, you're going to have to find a way to keep the pedal down because these guys will eventually come back. And, they've been in places where, Oklahoma State, I think, was up 14-0, 17-3, 24-10, and ended up losing that game in double overtime. Mm-hmm. They got way behind Kansas State when Martinez didn't play, but all of a sudden I think Will Howard might be better than Martinez. I don't know.
Well, Howard played pretty darn good in that game against TCU up until he got hurt.
He got hurt, and then you had the Rubley kid come in. So you're going to have some breaks go your way, and you're going to have to keep them from ripping off big chunks.
So Sonny Dykes is the first head coach in Big 12 history to start 8-0 in his first season of the conference.
Yeah,
first one ever.
Makes sense to me.
Doesn't happen. So that's a heck of a start. But as we've talked about, Hex, and this is not a, hey, Texas Tech's going to go win this game type of statement. It's a TCU team that seems to have warts. Seems to. We'll just go with what the College Football Playoff Committee said, as asinine as it is, and that you mentioned, they are slow starters at times. They are. But also, it's a team that's going to give up points. Can Texas Tech win a shootout type of game? You have the ability to do so. I think you can. I think that you have the ability. It comes down to, in true shootouts, if you're talking a game that's played in the 40s or something, you just have to get that one stop that's in the right moment. And obviously, you've got to have good enough play on offense. You had not much at all last week on
I'm going to
offense.
tell you something that's important that maybe not everybody would tell you that's important, is you better slide about 10 yards in front of these cheap-shotting linebackers and defensive backs, because TCU has taken out about every quarterback
Dirty.
that they found. They've played dirty. And Sonny Dykes has coached dirty at times, with complaining so much that he gets a Big 12 rule changed at halftime. So you better be ready to kind of get down in the mud with these guys, because they're down there. I mean, they took out
Gabriel's the most egregious one. I mean, that was super late, right at the head. I mean, they'll sacrifice a player for targeting to get a quarterback out of the game.
To, knock them out. So
yeah, it's
that's a little tongue in cheek, but I
don't think you're wrong. I mean,
some cheap shots.
They knocked two quarterbacks out in one game. We still don't know what happened to Adrian Martinez in that game, right? I guess we kind of learned after, but he seemed completely fine on the sideline. But then Will Howard goes out after that. We've seen him. Yeah, we saw the Gabriel one was the worst, but they have definitely taken some QBs out of games. So watch out, Baron Morton. Young pup, got to have your head on a swivel and know when to slide, know when not to. Speaking of which, here's a soapbox. The slide rule, I get why they have it, but man, the interpretation of it.
They really penalize you for the slide.
Yes, it's almost like, hey, you're trying to be safe here, but we're going to really pop you for it and put you 4 yards back.
Yeah, you started your slide on the 20. Your knee hit on the 23.
Yeah.
Your slide finished at the 26. We're going to take you all the way back to where it entered your brain.
The 18.
You were gonna, you're going to go back to the 18-yard line. And I've had to adjust to that, because I'm sure
expect it.
The well, now you do expect it, but the quarterback's like, okay, I'm going to compete my tail off. I've got to get to this yardage. I'm going to sacrifice my body. I'm going to get down, though, and try to stay in the game. And then I'm going to look up, and it's going to be 5 yards back from where I tried to get to.
Actually benefited it from it one time against Baylor. Shapen, I think, was short on a 4th down play, I think, at least 3rd down. But, yeah, that rule it's funky. You're preaching safety, but then you're almost saying, hey, it's better for you to dive head first than it is to slide, because you're going to get penalized so much for it. One more on cranberry sauce. South Texas Ambassador Preston says, just a reminder, no one's homemade cranberry jelly is going to be better than the sludge that comes out of the can. Factual. Questions now. Ask the Benchwarmers. Bring them in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. That's coming up next on 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Got a few questions in. Plenty of room for yours still. The End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score. Time for Ask the Benchwarmers. He is Geoff Haxton. I'm Chois Woodman. Jackson Frazier across the way. Questions for any and all of us are welcome. We're going to start with someone requested earlier, and we missed it yesterday. We need to hear the montage. It's been a little while. You might go get a sub today.
We have a pepper bar.
Pepper bar. All right, let's get to some of these. This one, Hacks, who is on the men's basketball call with you this season?
It'll be Clarky Lambert for 7 or 8, and Chris Level for the rest. The exact way we've done it every year, except for the first.
So whenever,
maybe the second too.
If Level's on TV,
yeah, I mean there were quite a few games that early that I was.
Yeah,
I feel so lonesome I could die.
Mm-hmm. Benchwarmers, would you rather go 2-2 with one of the wins against TCU, or 3-1 and lose to TCU
3-1,
this weekend?
lose to TCU.
Yeah, that's the correct answer, but there's part of me that really, really wants this one this weekend. Jackson, you going smart or greedy?
I'm 3-1.
I guess 3-1 would be the greedy, actually. Yeah, 3-1. But I really want this one this weekend. There's not a game remaining on the schedule that I want more than this one.
Well, sure. Except for me.
I know. Well, of course, you got to get that last one right that you predicted since before the season.
Got to be right on something.
That OU dub. Yeah, I want that one bad. Hacks, which basketball team in the Big 12 is the most overrated and which is the most underrated?
Oklahoma State is the most overrated, being tied with Texas Tech in the 5th position. And I just don't know about underrated because I think everybody's going to be pretty good. I think Kansas State is properly rated. My question marks that could be underrated are West Virginia and Iowa State. I think those teams have the ability to be pretty good, but currently aren't huge expectations for them. So we'll have to wait and see how some of those teams perform.
So your final answer is
Oklahoma State's the most over. I don't get it. I mean,
but you wouldn't be surprised if they finished 6th, right? Or 5th, or I guess 6th.
Yeah, I would be.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Why? I mean, name a couple guys on their team.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just giving. I think I'm doing what so many people have done, and giving the Boynton credit.
Why? What gets him to deserve credit?
Yeah, and I guess that's someone kind of pointed this out to me. What has he done yet? Like everybody, he's one of the most likable guys in the league. There's no question about that, and I think that gets him kind of a pass.
It does.
Right?
It gets him points, and they've been through a lot of crap.
So then it's like okay,
they've been through a lot of adversity with the NCAA.
So you know what?
COVID.
You're probably right.
Everybody went through COVID, but
I don't know.
But what has he done? I mean, he got Cade Cunningham.
Nothing yet.
Getting Cade Cunningham got him one NCAA tournament victory.
Yeah.
And then they lost to Oregon State to try to go to the Sweet 16.
Pretty rough.
Who was a 12 seed.
Yep.
They hadn't done anything.
Well, they did something in the tournament. They won a game after that, didn't they? Didn't they get to the Elite Eight? Or am I?
They won. They got to the round of 32. That's it.
No, Oregon State. I was talking.
Oh, no, yeah, they went on a run.
After,
they went on
a run after that. Benchwarmers, Bullfighter says, if you could own a professional team, what would it be? Football, basketball, baseball, and what would the team name be? The Chili Doggers? That's actually a pretty good name. That's a great minor league baseball team name, right? That would be pretty.
You'd get you some chili sponsorship.
The Lubbock Chili Doggers.
But then you're going to be like August and it's 120 degrees. Want a chili dog? And then you could always go to Chuck,
Yeah.
A little too hot for chili, isn't it?
A little too hot for chili. Just make it a hot dog. Hot dogs.
I think I would. The NFL is just awesome. I would go to an NFL franchise. I'd run it the opposite of Dan Snyder. I'd be on the forefront of fan engagement and the fan experience, and call them the Hub City Marauders. That's
You're
my team.
in on that, aren't you?
Yeah.
NFL is the most lucrative because you got the salary cap and you got. Yeah, I mean, if you want to make money the best, NFL is the way to go.
$18 a beer, parking.
Yeah. I think I would go football as well. Though it'd be kind of cool.
Baseball's just so long.
But it'd be kind of cool to have that all the time where you could just go.
I'm out.
Definitely, basketball is the longest, or the one I would want the least, though. Just for now.
You can. When I think of basketball, I think of densely populated areas, big cities.
Yeah.
And
in general, that's true.
That's just not a place I don't want to be. And I mean, football, you can go to Nashville, you can go to Jacksonville.
Jackson has his own town. Surely he's putting a team.
I
definitely
do a football franchise.
What about you? What are you going with?
It would have to be football first.
Yeah, football's the one.
Basketball would be my second, though.
Patrick asked, "Does this basketball team make the Sweet 16, Benchwarmers? Not do they have the potential, but your prediction?"
Right now, I say no.
Okay, I'll say yes. I'm a homer. No question.
I think they do too.
I think Mark Adams is that kind of
it's
coach.
It's not a shot at our guys. It's hard to get to the Sweet 16.
Sure it is. There's plenty of teams.
Think of how many times you did it before 2018.
Right now,
once.
I'm going to guess you finished third or fourth in this league, third or fourth, and then you.
Well, I'm taking that. I'm claiming that right now.
Well, and if you're third or fourth, you're probably anywhere from a 3 or 4 seed in the tournament, right? You finished third last year and finished as a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. So you finished there. Yeah, 3 seed sets you up to get to the Sweet 16, and you haven't underachieved in recent years when you've been a 3 seed. Right, you've gone chalk, you've done what you're supposed to, or gone further. Big Benchwarmers next Big 12 championship for Tech comes in what sport?
Golf.
Well, that's your most recent one, technically. You got
another one coming up.
So another one in the spring. That's so hard though to win.
I'm hearing really good things out of baseball too. I wouldn't put it past that. It's just nearly impossible to do it in basketball.
I don't really. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know how good track is compared to the rest of. But it wouldn't surprise me if track wins one.
Yeah.
So, golf might be. I mean, that's a team that's number one in the country and truly could win a national title this year. It's hard to do, but they got the talent to do it. So that's probably the right answer.
Stay hot in match play.
Baseball is one that, again, you got Tim Tadlock. You got a lot of talent on this team. You put it together. Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you have, 3 Big 12 championships in the last 5 or 6 years, so you could definitely do that.
And, boy, if you can just be hot early, then look out because you got, again, Texas, OSU, OU, all right there at the front.
You almost have to be hot early this year. This isn't a question but a comment. I think it's a bad matchup for TCU. What better defense have they played? They are banged up. I think it's a bad matchup for them. That's South Texas Ambassador Preston. Better defense. You've faced some better. I mean, OSU. It was a good defense when they faced them, but the back end of OSU, you're better on the back end than they are. I don't know that TCU. I mean, really looking at it, K-State's probably a better defense as a whole, but Tech's comparable. Tech is comparable. I don't know. If you can play with them early, don't let them run away at any point, you'll have a chance in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Hex, do it again tomorrow. Thursday edition of the End of the Bench coming at you that time. But
sorry about my stomach growling the entire show.
I only heard it a couple times. You're hungry. Got to go get that sandwich. Turkey. That's it for us. I'll hand you off to the bottom line next for Hax and Jackson. I'm Choice. It's been the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score.
This has been the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 107thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.